and welcome back to Salmon's Pizzeria this week for our championship roundup. This week I am joined by two people for once, and we have the usual Kieran Ashton. How are you, Kieran?
I'm alright. Glad to be back on. It's been a while discussing a Thistle defeat. Is what it is, but glad to be back on nonetheless.
And making a return is Josh, our Falkirk representative. How are you, Josh?
I am fantastic. Thank you very much, Callum.
I'm fantastic as well because once again, Raith Rovers won a game, so we shall get into that in earnest. So Raith were playing against Ayr being a bit inconsistent, managed to beat Dunfermline last week. Although saying that, that's not exactly difficult. Meanwhile, Raith Rovers unbeaten in the previous 5 in a pretty interesting run for us, considering how our season has been. So, it sounds a bit like an interesting match between two teams. See the first half? Nothing. Genuinely nothing happened in that first half. Really,
Callum, that seems to be quite a theme of Raith Rovers in this season, having a first half that's kind of nothing, not many chances. What do you put that down to as a fan watching them? How is it frustrating to see them not turn up till half time?
it's not really been it's been a thing where it's like games are either like it's either the first half or the second half when like nothing happens. That's the thing. It's like genuinely like half of our games have just been a game of two halves where it's just all right, nothing has happened here, nothing of note has happened. It's like obviously things have happened, but it's like a shot that's gone like 10 miles over the bar, like that sort of thing. That was about it. It wasn't really much. I'd say it's like since Robson came in, we've been very. It's like we've not been as free scoring as we were last season, and it's like Robson's come in and he's realised, okay, we don't really have many goals, but we've got a damn good defence. And I'll get onto that after this game, and I think that's just how it is. We've just been a lot more defensively solid. Like we've been winning a lot of games like 1-0. Like we've been keeping loads of clean sheets in the last few games. But the deadlock for this game was broken by Dylan Easton, of course, in what has got to be a goal of the season winner, or at least a contender, a serious
Absolutely,
contender for
without a
it.
doubt.
I could not believe it when it happened.
Is that on his weak foot as well?
It was weak foot, and he's like not broken out of his stride really. It's like the ball's just like been ripped in from a corner. It's been like sort of half cleared. It's on the edge of the box, about 25 yards out, and Easton just lashes it, and it just goes straight into the top left corner. It's like could not believe it when I'd see that. Like just mad. After
That's
that,
a wonderful strike. Arrow's right in the top corner, and it's so satisfying watching those ball flights when like they just you think it's gonna go flying over the bar, but it just keeps that control until it just goes in the roof of the net. It was as much as I think he's a very arrogant player. You've got to tip your hat and say, well played, mate.
he's arrogant for a reason. It's when you can
Aye,
if you can back it up, and he
aye,
backed
Yeah,
it
you're
up.
it's
right.
one. Aye, sorry, Callum, on you go.
No, it's fine. That's all I had to.
That's all you had to say. No, basically, I would say it's one of the goals that it looks good on camera on the highlight reel, whatever. But I think there was a recording of it. I think it was for the Ayr end, from so the opposite end, so the away end, and it was brilliant. It would have been one of the goals that you would have, if you're a Ray fan, it would have looked 10 times better in person. You know what I mean? So it was fantastic.
Absolutely. It was definitely one of those, and it's like that sort of brought the game a bit into life for Rafe anyway. It's like a couple more chances, but then uh, the only downside of this game is the fact that Finley Pollock, he went off injured at the end. He's done his hamstring. I don't think we'll see him for the rest of this season, which is a real shame because he's been, especially under Barry Robson, he's been really good. Like he's been excellent since the turn.
bit of pace into the side as well. He's got a good. He can bring the ball down. He can hold it up. He can take on his man. He's a real player that I think he's been a wee bit underappreciated at times from the Rover support, even for kind of some of your pundits maybe underestimating him a wee bit. He's also got a wee bit physicality about him, bringing the ball down for the air. So I've been impressed when he's played against Falkirk. So
It was like the cup game, which was Robson's first game. He was really good at that one, and I think that was one of the first. It's like since definitely it's like really. It's like he's been. It's like first half of the season he was fine, but it's like since Robson come in, he's been really good. Like for the most part, he's been one of our top 4 players, top 5 players in like the past couple of months. So he's going to be a real mess for these last few games. And Easton also went off with like a cramp or something, and he got replaced by Kai Montague, who very nearly fucked it at the end. So it's like he got a 1-on-1. And the thing is, he's a young lad. He's like 17 or something like that. He's not played many minutes, and it's like he's got the ball for defender, like at the halfway line. So he's basically got like an entire half of the pitch to run. And I think it's just like if he got that, say, like 30 yards or 20 yards or whatever, I think he buries it because there's less time for both him and the keeper to think about things. I think he's just overthinked it. And then there was a point where Raith could have had like a 3-on-1, but he's just booted it and it's ended up going straight to an Ayr United player. Yeah, but it's like aside from that, it's like Raith held out for the win. It was fairly comfortable at the end, and Raith stats put out something interesting. I was saying about how Barry Robson has made us a lot more solid at the back. In the last 10 league games, on 3 of those occasions, the other team hasn't had a single shot on target. To find the next like 3 league games without the opposition having another shot on target, you have to have a net of about 100. It was like 143 games, and it's like we got like 5 clean sheets in the last 6. It's mad how Barry Robson has changed this team because it seemed like we were not solid at all. And it's like we're going. It's like times where we do go like 2 goals up. It's like beforehand had the fear. And it's like aside from Morton, we've not been throwing away leads. We've been very solid, which I'm happy with. Meanwhile, Ayr, they're finishing third.
yeah, it's a very strange one, isn't it?
I fancy. Sorry, Josh. Sorry, go.
No, I was just going to say it's very strange here because at one point I felt that they were really the side in control. They just seemed to be winning every week, and they'd pull wins out of the hat when you thought how they winning that, and then all of a sudden they just because I think they got within 2 points, so they maybe kind of snuck in front of Falkirk just as I think they maybe
At
could
the
have
end
gained
of
more.
January, they were top, I think.
But since then they've just really struggled, and I've not seen any key players get injured. If anything, I think Marco Rose, who was missing for a bit of the season, kind of came back into the fold, and I don't understand what's been going wrong for Scott Brown's Ayr United.
Yeah, it's like I'm just looking here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like in the last 8 games, they've only won 3 of them, and they've come against Airdrie, Queens Park, and Dunfermline.
And it was a last minute against Queen's Park when they were 2-0 down.
So it's like they've not really been title contenders, and it's just pure inconsistency at this point. Really, it's like going into the game, I was thinking to myself, yeah, we could probably have a result here, but it'll probably be a draw. And let's face it, without Easton's effort, it was probably going to be a draw. But they just don't seem to have. So obviously they're missing. Who is it they're missing? It's not Oakley.
Dowds?
Anton Dowds. That's it. They're missing Anton Dowds. They've been missing him for a large part of the season. It's like it was like that first half of the season when they had Dowds and Oakley.
Oh, that was
excellent.
scary. Yeah.
That was it's like they were genuinely scary, but it's like since the turn of the year they've just not been at it. It's really not been at it. But aye, so Raith with that win keep some hopes of fourth alive, and it's definitely helped by this following game where bottom of the table Airdrie, who absolutely pumped Queen's Park, by the way, 5-0. Just I don't want to say I expected it, but it's like I had a feeling Airdrie would win, but not 5-0. So it's like Airdrie, they were at home to Queen's Park, not Queen's Park, Thistle. They were at home to Partick Thistle. Kieran, you were at the game. How about you talk us through it?
Right, can you hear me? Aye.
Yep.
I think my Wi-Fi's been cutting in and off. Cutting. I'm not having a good night here, boys. Aye, so it's Airdrie Thistle on, yeah. Aye, so I thought the game was pretty much end to end the first half. Thistle, I think, looking back on it, they came close. They probably came the closest on both occasions. Graham had a header. And a couple of minutes later, there was a bit of play where both Airdrie and us should have had a penalty. But I feel the referee made the decision based on if he didn't give a free kick and he gives a penalty. Looks a bit dubious, you know what I mean? But I think he didn't make any decisions based on them like they cancelled each other out. But Graham should have hit the shot earlier. And then just before half time, Robbie Crawford hit the post. And I mean, I thought it was alright. I think at the game I was a bit more disappointed with the performance. But looking back, yeah, it felt like we had the chances we had, we should be burying them. And then second half comes, again, Logan Chalmers has a chance and the keeper's easily saves it. And then up the other end, 3 minutes later, Airdrie take the lead. And it's a bit of shamash. I think defensively we should be doing a lot better than what we did with it. But as what it is, balls in the back of the net, and Chalmers straight after Airdrie took the lead has a chance. He looks slightly off, I thought, but the linesman never flagged for it, and he's got to be busting the net for that position. Considering how well his season's went this season, he should be busting the net. But again, keeper saves it, and then Airdrie nearly made it too, but Budanaukis got down well to save it, and then 83rd minute, a good cross from Logan Chalmers, and that's his 8th assist this season. So he's up there in Thistle anyway. I think he's been nominated for Player of the Year. For Thistle's Player of the Year, I should say. And right on the napper, Ben Stanley, and gets his equaliser, and we think, right, hopefully we could kick on for here. At the very least, take a point. You know, if more comes of it, we get a win. You know, that's good. But I think at that time, I was taking a draw. But in Airdrie, we've got a corner. We've got everybody up trying to win it. There's a bit of a stramash in our box, and probably should be doing well to put the ball in the back of the net, but we just can't. Airdrie then hit us on the break and scored in the 89th minute to beat us, and you're left the ground kind of gutted, you know what I mean? Losing it that late, but looking at the stats, I think Thistle should have won it overall, or at least we should be taking our chances. Airdrie took their chances and we didn't. That's what it came down to pretty much, and it's a massive win for Airdrie. They had the Great Escape blaring through the speakers as we were at full time, and I'm not joking, like pure full pelt, and I'm like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? But yeah, they win, and massive result for Airdrie, but very disappointing for us. And now we're looking over our shoulder again now, Raith, after obviously the aforementioned they beat Ayr. They're now 3 points behind us. We need to win our next two because they're against both teams down the bottom end. Get Accies at home and then Pars away. So we need to win they two. Because I am not going into Falkirk at home and Livy away. Like confident. I don't want to go into any of the two games having to get something because we've got no chance, I think. So, these next two games are crucial. We need to get 6 points out of the out of the 6 points available. We need the 6 points. It's making it interesting, not for my mental health or my heart rate, but is what it is. It's mad. It's mad. But it makes it certainly interesting anyway. But
it's like you were saying about it's like the final 4 games. How it's like you need to get those next 2 games with like the 6 points because you've got Accies and the Pars. Meanwhile, Raith have got Airdrie next week, and then the week after we have Falkirk. But it's like after that we have Morton and Queen's Park. So it's very much a case of like it's like Morton have reached 40 points, so they're just giving up. Seemingly, that just seems how it is for Morton every season. So it really is a case of getting these next 2 games are what's going to decide who finishes 4th. Because we'll get onto Queen's Park later, but it's really looking tight now for that final playoff spot.
Definitely. I think whoever finishes 4th as well, I fancy them against Ayr in the quarterfinals. I don't know. I'd draw against Livy. A different kettle of fish, but I'd certainly fancy us or Raith in the playoffs against Ayr, at least to get into the semis. Ayr, as you've spoken about, the faltered, and I think their arse have collapsed big time. I think their bubbles burst. Famous last words, obviously. That's us or Raith getting scalped in the quarters.
Like
you know what I mean?
It's like against Ayr. It's like our two home games have been fairly straightforward, but then see like the away games have just been absolutely battered. Apart from the Challenge Cup game where we went 2-0 up and then fucked it. Because of course we did. But yeah, it is massive. It is real crunch time, and with these playoffs, it's like I've said before, it's like with Livingston, they've not looked very impressive throughout the season, but they just have a way of grinding out results. So it's like, whilst I do think whoever finishes 4th has a very good chance of beating Ayr, I do think Livingston will beat whoever does win that tie. But going back to the other end of the table, massive win for Airdrie, especially with Dunfermline playing against Hamilton, which is what we're going on to next. Now, with this game, Dunfermline were doing football for a £5. So anyone coming into the game only has to pay a £5. Great. We saw 7,500 Dunfermline fans and about 200 Accies fans, which is
120 Accies fans.
Was it 120?
Yep.
Oh no! I heard it was 200. Oh Jesus! How did I overestimate the Aki support? At 200. Anyway, so yeah, it's like a rocking East End Park considering Dunfermline managed to beat Livingston midweek. Admittedly, a probably very hungover Livingston, but it's like you beat in second in the table. That's like a massive 3 points, and you're coming up against Accies, who I said like last week, I will not be surprised if they don't get any more points throughout this season. And it's like for the first half, it was all Dunfermline. It really was all Dunfermline. But then it's like right at the end of the first half, it's like an Accies ball is whipped in from the right, and it gets half cleared out to the left. It gets whipped in again, half cleared out to the left, and then one of the Accies players comes along to the byline, hits it across the goal, and Oluwayemi sort of like fumbles it against one of his own defenders, and it like bounces to Regan Tumblety, who is basically on the goal line to like tap it home, which, considering he is a former Raith Rovers player and was a fan favourite whilst he was there, Regan, thank you very much. This is very funny. So halftime, 1-0 Ackies, and obviously enjoying life. And second half, just again, it was all Dunfermline, but they genuinely just they have like this incredible ability to do everything apart from score. It must be absolutely infuriating because it's like you look at the players in this Dunfermline team and you're thinking, how? How are they struggling to score so often? It got to the point where it's like, and so it's like with results elsewhere, Dunfermline now have the worst goal scoring record in the entire SPFL out of the 42 in the SPFL, and I heard it mentioned how it's like if you take in like the top 5 tiers of England and the top 5 tiers of Scotland, they've scored the least amount of goals. And so it's like I heard that I was like, right, I'm gonna go through like the rest of the Scottish pyramid because I have way too much time on my hands and see where Dunfermline are when it comes to goals per game because I feel like that's a bit more of a fair metric. Because it's like when I initially did it with just how many goals were scored, there were 16 teams worse. But then like the most amount of games these teams were played was like 26, whereas Dunfermline played 32. So it's like going through all of this. So 290 teams played the Scottish football pyramid. Dunfermline ranked 281st. 9 teams have got a worse goals per game ratio. And it's like one of those teams is Wigtown and Bladnoch, who have finished their season. They've played 22 games. They got 1 point. They got 1 point, and if I just check it here. Aye, so Dunfermline, 0.84 goals a game. Wigtown and Bladnoch, 0.82. They have a goals per game ratio on par with a team that got 1 point in 22 games. And it's like you have players like Chris Keane. How is this happening?
That's embarrassing, because considering at the turn of the year we conceded fucking 4 to them, 4 against them at Firhill. They beat us 4-1. Chris Kane scored a fucking overhead kick.
It's like we've got
That
the
actually sings
most
me.
recent derby at Eastern Park where Chris Kane scored the luckiest hat trick I've ever seen. It's like I went, so it's like 32 games, and they've only scored more than once on 6 occasions in the league this season. And it's like it's like you've got the 3-0 draw against Falkirk, a 3-1 and a 2-0 win against us, where it's like, as I mentioned, that 3-1, it was like the luckiest hat trick I've ever seen, and then the 2-0, we were down to 10 men after about 15 minutes. You got the 3-0 against Falkirk, where they, what was it, 2 penalties they got?
2 penalties in a corner.
And then, as you were saying, Kieran, the 4-1 loss. And it's just like,
The 4-1, yeah.
They have like these moments where they just score like 3 or 4 goals out of absolutely nowhere, and then like the next 10 games they'll score like 2. It's just
interesting as well. If you look at the goals they're scoring, a lot of them are coming from set pieces. And if you watch that first half, the highlights, a lot of their chances come from set pieces, and that's where they're dangerous. They look sharp. When we played them a few weeks ago, that's all their chances came from set pieces. And they're actually getting a bit unlucky. And you just think a wee bit of coaching on how to finish your chances is all they're probably needing. A wee bit of experience.
they've
But
got
at
players
this
like
stage in the
Benedicta.
season, I know. They've brought in a lot of young players on loan, and I think they're the ones that are needing that little bit of sharpness. They've got experience in the back end of the park. They've got Chris Kane, but he's kind of on one leg at the moment, and they're just trying to nurse him through the rest of the season.
Yeah,
So
like
I
27
don't
goals in the
actually
league, and
think
Chris Kane has scored 10.
I don't actually think Dunfermline should be as bad as they are. I think they create decent enough chances. They just cannot finish their dinner, and that is hilarious.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. I think we all are.
I can't wait for them to scalp them. We're all saying, "Oh, they can't score." I can't wait for them to scalp us like 4 or 5-0 next week. So looking forward to that.
It'll be a right laugh. But it's like for Ackies, that is another massive result for them, especially considering the news that came out during the week, where it was it was to do with the licensing issues that I mentioned earlier, where it's like as part of the thing, it's like by the 31st of March, you're meant to tell the SFA where you're going to be playing for the following season, and apparently they've not done that. And this sort of came up beforehand because Clyde, who are ground sharing, it's like under the contract, it's like it's 3 years with like 2 years added on, and they wanted to extend, and Hamilton aren't allowed to say no, but they hadn't heard back from Hamilton, so who knows? So it's like we could be seeing Aki's with a 6 point deduction, which I believe would put them bottom as it stands.
Yeah,
But
it would.
it's like if they get lucky with this sort of stuff, where just like nabbing a result here and there, and it's still
I,
in their hands because that's a massive result for them. Because if Dunfermline won that game, that would have been curtains for Ackies.
yeah, I think the SPFL have got to show consistency. The fact
And
that
they've
they
only been
docked
got that point deduction for.
Bonnie Rose got 6 points for their pitch being uneven, and that was
That
what
was a
brought their
licensing
license
failure.
down.
It was a
Yes,
licensing failure due to that pitch. So it's like
yeah. So
they have to get a 6 point deduction.
and Bonnie Rose are sitting 6 points adrift at the bottom of League Two. So the SPA they've set that precedent. They've really got to follow through. And as much as you don't like to see teams relegated because of a points deduction,
Kieran.
you've also got to show consistency.
Kieran, you know that feeling, don't you?
No comment.
See, I cannot wait. Right, it's like imagine if say like Dunfermline finished bottom and Aki's finished ninth, and it's like they don't get that points deduction. I cannot wait for like an entire summer of more legal proceedings against the SFA. It's like we're so back. 5 year anniversary of COVID. SFA back in court. And speaking of five, coincidentally, we have Falkirk against Morton. Oh, Josh, you're going to love this one. So, Falkirk looking to continue their charge towards the title after they lost to Livingston last time out. Thankfully, Livingston lost midweek, so that sort of negated the issue. Morton, meanwhile, they reached 40 points and were still in the challenge for fourth after beating Thistle. But again, they reached 40 points, and apparently they're just like, go, we're safe, time down tools. So talk us through this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, absolutely. Falkirk started the match really, really well. A flurry of chances in the opening couple of minutes. And there seems to be a theme with Falkirk this season, and that's if they get a goal in the first 5 minutes, they go on to cruise the game. And they got a goal in the first kind of 5 or 6 minutes. Um, Lovely little bit of play. Callum Miller gets a shot away, it's saved by the goalie. And who else but Scotty Arfield in the right place at the right time to score his 100th career goal. Really special moment for him. The fans were absolutely loving it, and it was just a sign of things to come. Um, I've really actually got to credit Keelan Adams, who I think has been very underrated this year from some of the media outlets. He's a fullback that signed from Cumbernauld Colts in January last year, got shipped back out on loan. He started every league game this season for Falkirk. He's so fast, and he's got this ability when he gets the ball fired out to him, his first touch is always forward, whether it's chested forward into his stride or whether it's his touch forward. And at that level, a lot of players are not expecting that. And that's how the first goal comes about, is he takes that stride forward, getting past his man, can then cut it back for Miller. So, excellent goal. Um, and then it starts again. Um, Calvin Miller, who has been probably Falkirk's best player the second half of the season. Nicky Hogarth sends a long ball downfield and he plucks the ball out the sky. Great first touch. He gets a little bit fortunate with the way the deflection goes, but he picks his spot and just finds the bottom corner. Um, so Falkirk just um, such a good first half that Scotty Arfield got a third just before half time. And Scotty Arfield, what a sign he's been! 8 goals in 9 games. I mean, that's probably going to win Falkirk the league. That signing and those goals. And then
he's
second
signing
half,
he's signing the season of the championship, I think, without a doubt. He's, as you say, Josh, sorry to cut you off there, but
no,
he's
it's all right.
you've seen that in his debut against us. His debut against us, like,
I scored a hat trick, didn't he?
aye, yeah, aye, did. Don't bring it up, Callum. You know what I mean? No, but he looks. Like, people are saying, "Oh, it's a veteran sign, whatever." It's just an experienced head in the team, and yes, that is true. But he looks at least 5 yards sharper than everybody in the league. It's insane. He looks. He's that level above. You know what I mean? Above and beyond. He's cracking signing. I can't wait for him to dunk on us in a couple of weeks and score another hat trick. That'll be good. But aye, Josh, he's been fantastic for these. And he's certainly, it's league winning signing for Falkirk. So
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And the thing with Arfield is, okay, yes, he doesn't have the legs that he used to, and that's why he's dropped our level. But his passing is always to the player in their stride, in front of them, ready for them to run onto. With other players, it's maybe just that yard slow or that yard behind, and in that half second allows defenders to get back. His is so crisp. And also the way in which he finishes, he knows the spaces to get into to get his shots away. And he never ever thumps things at full melt. He always just places them or knows his first goal he hit it into the ground because he knew that was the only way to get it past two defenders in the way. Like that's the experience you need to get those types of goals. So and second half was a wonderful free kick from Ethan Ross, and if you've not seen it, I do encourage you. It's the best free kick I've seen at the Falkirk Stadium. It's maybe about 25 yards out, the left hand side, right footed over the wall into the corner. The goalie rooted to the spot, and Falkirk made a change of formation at 4-0. They brought on three strikers, which was hilarious when played 4-3-3 and two of the strikers coming on combined. Ross McKeever clips the ball into big Barney Stewart at the back post to round up the scoring. And he's a young lad with so much potential. Obviously, signed to Heriot Watt, and he's got pace, he's got strength, he's got great jumping reach. He's a little bit raw at times, but you can say I think he'll definitely be a good player in years to come. Once he just gets that little bit of maturing, a little bit of kind of rounding off the edges. But he's got such great raw ability.
It's bad how it's like our three teams have both like brought in players from like way down the leagues. So it's like you say you got the boy from Heriot Watt, Kieran Partick, got that guy from the
Glenafton, Luke
juniors,
Macbeth.
Macbeth. It's like we've got it's like we brought in Kai Montague from East Kilbride, and it's like granted he's not played the most minutes, but it's like he's been pretty good in like those minutes. So it's like he's clearly got like the ability to play at a championship level. So it does show that there is plenty of talent way down those leagues. It's like Dylan Easton, for example, he spent seasons at Kelty in the Lowland League. And
Yeah,
look at him
there's
now.
there's
So,
there's loads of
there's
talent
plenty
down
of
in
players who
the
are like, worth a
juniors.
punt.
Yeah, and even Pittman from Livingston, I think he signed for Bonus 10 years ago, and he's been, championship, premiership player for 10 years. So certainly there is a group of players that just, for whatever reason, are in at that level, just waiting for a club to take a chance on them. But if we take a look at Morton, I was fortunate enough to walk past Dougie Emery just after full time and overheard him saying that his job for the summer has been made very easy. As I'm not going to describe the words that followed, but describing some of his players as lazy. So he was not a happy man, and
See, like
I
we're
don't
on about
see.
signing players from lower leagues. I think the last player that Morton did that with was Kirk Broadfoot from Broomhill.
Yeah. So yeah, Dougie Emery not a happy manager. He feels his players weren't playing for him. You could tell that in the way he made a lot of substitutions at the start of the second half, and it does look like they've down tools. Dougie Emery's kind of called them out in his press conferences. I think he's also made a statement to the board that he wants investment in the summer. He says he's sick of finishing fifth. He's sick of being the team that nearly gets there, and
Well, they're not finishing fifth
I
this season.
actually
Not down
worry.
to that.
Yeah, I worry for Morton if they don't invest in their squad next year. I think
Aye,
Emery is a good manager. I
that's
think
the
he's
thing. Is like
getting a
there
bit
are
fed
rumours
up.
that he'll be away. There's rumours that he'll be away if there's no investment or whatever. Because it's like Bolton have been running on the lowest budget, and you can definitely tell with some of the. It's like they do have some good players in that. They're definitely like a mid-table team, but it's like if you take away Emery, they're probably in amongst that bunch at the bottom. As annoying as it is to praise Dougie Emery. But aye, so Morton are definitely they're the first team who are just in complete no man's land. Really, it's like just complete no man's land. Just nothing's going to happen for them for the rest of the season. Falkirk, he's 8 points clear with 4 games to go. You play Ayr next week. It just it's going to happen. Is the Ayr game on the Friday?
Friday night
It's a Friday
under
night
the
kickoff.
lights.
Win that, that's it. You've won the league. And it's a case of just hoping Livingston lose so that you don't have to win the title against us. I don't want
Even
that
a
to
draw,
happen.
even a draw, Livingston, it would mean that Falkirk
Aye.
would win in the pub again. Not something that we've last year obviously won the league because Hamilton dropped points and we had a 5:30 kick-off, so the league was won in the pub. And
Aye.
again, a
Aye, it was
chance.
like you were up at Montrose, weren't you?
It was sort of 7-2
Yes,
or something like that, 6-2. He's won as well.
it was 7-1, so
7-1, that was it.
it was a bit gutting to not get that moment on the pitch to win it. Obviously, we put in a masterclass. So, but
Aye,
yeah, it should hopefully be a, a title win to talk about in the next couple of weeks. I don't think we'll win it this weekend. I think there's a good chance that Ayr get points against us. We've struggled against them this year. I also think Livingston will pick up points, full points.
like if that happens, then I'm just hoping that we win.
Do you reckon, Josh, if you get promoted, you win the league? Do you think Arfield's um, oh, I think he's left.
It's his turn to
Oh,
disappear.
he's gone.
Sorry,
Yeah,
You
you're
alright? You
back.
good?
I'm back. My computer froze.
No, I was saying, Josh. Sorry. Do you think Arfield's retiring at the end of the season, or do you think he'll do a season in the top flight?
I think he'll stick around. I do think he'll end up in the coaching staff at some point. I think he'll maybe be a player coach, and I don't know because at the moment he's obviously starting pretty much every game, unless there's a midweek game and he's playing twice a week. Then he'll be rested for one of them. I don't know how his legs would cope in the Premiership. I, um, but I do think he'll be a valuable player even for 30 minutes off the bench. Would be so helpful in the Premiership. So I do see him staying on as a player coach for next season.
Yeah, it's like even if he's not playing every week in the Premiership, he has that experience of being at Rangers and whatnot. So
Definitely.
it's like it'll be invaluable to the squad either way. And as you're saying, he's like a class above. So it's like he there's a good chance he still has the ability. It would be a bit like I think it's like when Dundee went back up when they last got promoted. It's like he still had Charlie Adam, who is like we saw. It's like he didn't really have the legs, but he still had that technical ability. And sometimes it's like even if you don't have the legs, like your technical ability can just dig you out at times. Even if
And also it's the way in training that he'll know what the instructions to help give the teams. I think Falkirk at the start of the season had a problem where they would create so many chances, but they wouldn't finish them. And since Arfield's arrived, the likes of Ethan Ross, just he scored a goal against Morton, not this week, but the game before, and it was that placed shot from the edge of the box just round the keeper. When normally, I think the first half of the season he would have tried to put his laces through it, and probably hit it over the bar or at the goalkeeper for him to parry wide. And it's that kind of, right, let's get all the forwards together and do an hour shooting practice after training. And as a forward, you're like, oh, well, if Scotty Arfield's doing it, I'll do it. And just
Aye.
setting that standard. And that's the thing that I think's helped as well, that not everyone will get to see.
Aye, and I'll be interested to see how Falkirk do, because it's like teams that go up don't come back down straight away. That's not happened for a good wee while now. So, it's like with the way
Watch us
Falkirk,
buck
like,
the
even
trend.
against Premiership teams this season, Falkirk have been impressive against Premiership teams this season. So, I'm not going to say they'll do what Dundee United have done, where it's like with that Dundee United team, it's like a good chunk of them were from the Premiership the season before. It's like they already had a solid Premiership team in the Championship, and then they've obviously built on that to get them back into the top six. But it's like I could see Falkirk staying up a bit comfortably, like finishing eighth, something like that next season.
Yeah, it's in the realms of possibility. Obviously, we beat Dundee United in the League Cup group stage. We managed to beat Hearts. Okay, Hearts were struggling at the time. We managed to beat Celtic over 70 minutes, but no, I'm only kidding. Uh, we gave Celtic a good game until they brought on £12 million of players. So we did all right.
Speaking of teams that are not doing all right, however, we have Queen's Park who are away against Livingston. This is a repeat of last week's cup final, but the midweek results saw both teams lose. Livingston got beat away at Dunfermline, as already mentioned, and again, Queen's Park absolutely battered by Airdrie at Hampden. Again. And it just went the same way as a cup final. It was just all Livingston. Smith opened the scoring in the 14th minute with a really nice effort. It was a really nice effort, 25 yards out, and just curls and dips over Callum Ferry, who we were talking about before the show, about if he's overrated, underrated, that sort of thing. And then about 3 minutes later, corners swung in. It's a bit of a smash, but Muirhead's there. Shots deflected off the line, but it goes in. 17 minutes, 2-0 up, and then Kelly hits a first time shot for the edge of the box, 40th minute, 3-0. He just sat there. It's like I'm sat there and being told like the scores by people around me, and I'm just like, oh god, they're going to concede 5 again. They are going to concede 5. And it really could have been 5 because it's like second half. Not much happened. Livy had a goal disallowed. It was a bit close where it's like the ball went over the byline before it got crossed in, and then you also hit the post. So it very easily could have been 5-0 again for like the third game in a row or something ridiculous like that. And it's
Yeah,
just
Queen's Park are really struggling. They're struggling to keep teams
they're
out and
going
they're
to
struggling
finish
to create
bottom at
any
this point.
chances for themselves. I
They're
think there's
going
a
to finish
great chance they
bottom.
do finish bottom.
Mhm.
It's like they're just awful. They had 2 shots and one of them was on target. Yes, on the against Livingston at the weekend. It's just terrible. They're just they're just an absolute shambles at the minute. Livingston is like they're going to finish second. I think that's just going to be that sorted, especially with Falkirk playing against Ayr and like I know you're saying it's Ayr and it's a bit difficult. It's like weirdly, it's like with Falkirk, it's like the teams who tripped up against would be Livingston and Ayr, but then Livingston and Ayr have been tripping up against everyone, everyone else, whereas Falkirk have just been plowing through them. But it's like Queens Park. It's like they're currently 6 points off of Airdrie, and you might think with 4 games left, that's fine. And it's like the goal difference between the two is 12. But the thing is, Queens Park are losing games like 4-0. And so it's like there's a very good chance. It's like if Airdrie get 2 more wins, they're staying up. It's like Queens Park will finish below them because just through goal difference. Because they're just it's like Airdrie is getting results. It's like if you win, your goal difference goes up. I don't want to be like Michael Owen, but it's like that gap is going to get smaller. That gap is getting smaller, big time over these few weeks. And it's like I swear, it's like a couple of weeks ago that goal difference was positive. It's like after the Raith one, it was positive by quite a bit, and it's since then they've conceded like 12. It's just
5-0 versus 5-0 versus Airdrie, 4-0 versus Falkirk, 3-0 versus Livingston. It's not looking good for the Spiders, and I think in January when they sold Dom Thomas and didn't replace him, I felt that was a big issue. I think they're lacking a huge bit of creativity in the midfield. Zach Rudden's running around up front like a headless chicken, just chasing shadows. He's getting no support, and their back line, they're struggling, and also they've got a lot of lone players in defence. And I always am wary of when you've got a defence built on loans, you don't have that cohesiveness. I also think at the end of the season, when you know you're going back to your parent club, it's difficult to motivate yourself as a loan player.
yeah. So I just had a look. Last 5 league games, Queens Park have scored 1 and conceded 16.
Yeah,
that is
that's a
relegation
frightening
form and
stat.
a half in it. It's
That is an incredible collapse.
That leads us perfectly, Callum, to talk about Mr. Ferry, the Queen's Park goalkeeper, who
Yeah,
I think
it's like you were saying beforehand. You think he's overrated.
I do. I think he's severely overrated. I tip my hat to him because he can produce, and he has produced, I think, probably three of the saves of the season throughout the campaign. And he has the ability to make wonderful saves. I also think he's got the severe ability to chuck goals in the net. And I think that
mm,
first goal today, I think he definitely should be doing better than that. I think there's no power on the shot. He's not off his line. He does get a touch on it. He should be tipping that onto the bar at least. And I've heard a lot of people clamour that he's the best goalkeeper in the championship, but I think he makes too many errors. Yes, he has the ability to make great saves and he has great games, but I think he's far too inconsistent.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like seeing him in games in person against Raith Rovers for whatever reason, he just turns into prime Buffon or whatever. But
Oh,
then I'll
he's done
see
the same
games.
in
But there's like
two games
but
against
there'll be
Falkirk.
games like you're saying, like this one, like there was the one against
Yeah,
Falkirk, there was one against Thistle or whatever, and he just sort of like
yeah, United game he chucked a few in the net as well.
yeah,
The 3-2.
it's inconsistency. It's like if he was consistent and in the middle, then yeah, he is probably one of the best goalkeepers in the championship. But it's like at his high, he's like a premiership. But at its low, you're just like, why is this not happening when we're playing against them? It's such a bizarre one. But the thing is, it's like I think I mentioned this last week, where you look at his interview after the cup final, and it's like he had the look of shell shock, and it's like you're looking through the stats of these games, and you're seeing pretty consistently Queens Park are conceding about 20 shots. So it's no wonder he's
mm.
conceding like 3 or 4 goals a game at this point.
I just to be in on what you have said, I think both these are spot on. Again, capable of pulling off fantastic saves, I mean, I think the defence has probably got to shirk some of the blame for it, but at the same time, I mean, you can only do if the goalkeeper's always doing his job as well and chucking in goals at nobody's business, then you can't really hide. You can't really hide for the criticism yourself. But even when I've seen him against us, play against us, it's sort he's had far too many mirrors against us. But it's when like other teams are posted saying, "Oh, he's good as this and that." Like I remember the game against Rangers in the cup game. It was fantastic. He was arguably won the tie for Queens Park against Rangers, but and then next week he's having he's getting beat off. I think it was Aki's that they get beat off at Hampden. And you're like, it's insane. They're far too inconsistent Queens Park, and like it's ultimately been their detriment this season, and it's, it's it's hampered them massively. And now they're looking at they're looking at the bottom end of the table and in real danger of going down.
It's like you've also got like the off the field issues as well with Jorge deciding he's had enough, because he's been made fun of in pub quiz names, that sort of thing. It's just utterly bizarre what's happening, and it's like you're finding the stuff out. It's like, oh, the director of football is Jorge's nephew-in-law or something daft like that, and has never worked. And it's like, yeah, you can probably tell with some of the signing decisions and players sold and whatnot. Yeah, it's like they're a mess. It's like if they go down, then it's like not like the complete collapse some people are suggesting, where it's like they'll do what Brechin and Cowden Beef and Dumbarton nearly done. Well, it's like, yeah, Cowden Beef and Brechin done, where it's like they just plummeted out of leagues. Dumbarton looked like they were going to be doing the same thing, but it's like they came back up and down their administration or whatever. I don't think it'll be that. And then they'll probably just end up like Alloa or something. Because the thing is, like, that's what the initial goal was when Queen's Park voted to become professional, like not be amateurs anymore. The idea was they'll just be like the solid semi-professional team, like an Alloa, like a Stenos Muir, that sort of thing. You know, just like League One, League Two, on occasion getting into the Championship, that sort of thing. And it's like that would have been all fine and dandy, but then Jorge comes in and he's like, "Oh no, we're going up, we're going back up to the Premiership, boys," and it's just they got very close, and since then it's just been dead. It's just been a complete mess these last few years at Queen's Park. So, but I suppose that's all the games very well covered. I'm looking at the time. So we'll go through the table. Falkirk sitting nice and pretty, top of the league, 8 points clear on. They're sat on 69 points. Everyone's played 32 games. Everyone is sat on the same amount of games. This is the first time since maybe like week 2 this has happened. But Falkirk, nice and clear, 69 points, 8 points ahead of Livingston, who are on 61. Then it's Ayr on 58, Thistle 48, then it's Raith 45. The goal difference between us is only 6. So
enjoy your playoff spot, Callum. Hope you're happy.
I
Hope
cannot
you're
wait to
very
follow
happy.
us. I cannot wait to come back next week when you've lost to Ackies or something. Then it's Morton on 41. Then it's the battle of the bottom. Queen's Park 33 points with a minus 14 goal difference. Ackies 32 points for now with a minus 22 goal difference. Dunfermline 30 points, minus 14 goal difference, and Airdrie 27, minus 26 goal difference. Oh, I forgot to mention, Pie and Bovril, they do a thing at the end of every week where it's last 6 games, most points gained in each league. Falkirk have gained the most of 15, Raith at 12. But the thing is, these last 6 games, coincidentally, are from after Raith against Queen's Park. Queen's Park, 0. So by the end of the season, it's going to be either Ackies or Queen's Park bottom at this rate. And even then, I can genuinely see Ackies finishing above Queen's Park just by the fact that I don't see Queen's Park scoring a goal, not conceding 12. It's just mad. Anyway, suppose we should look at next week's fixtures. As mentioned, the big game on Friday, Ayr at home to Falkirk. That'll be on BBC. Saturday games, we have Greenock Morton at home to Livingston, Queen's Park at home to Dunfermline. That's going to be tasty. If Queen's Park win that game, just relegate Dunfermline. Raith at home to Airdrie, which, as mentioned, I'm in a bit of a torn mind about. It's like, do I want to win so we can catch Thistle, or do we want to lose so Airdrie can catch Dunfermline? Just whatever's the funniest result. There's 2 specific circumstances where I'm a very happy man, and of course the final game is Partick Thistle at home to Hamilton. So yes, we will be back for those ones next week. Hopefully I will have fully recovered from this cold. My throat is starting to die on me. So I'm going to end it here. Goodbye.